And welcome back. Well, if you're like most people, rugby isn't a sport you were introduced to as a kid. I didn't learn about the sport until college, and I certainly didn't know that we had one locally.
Yeah, that's right. Milwaukee does have a rugby team, and did you know that they play at the highest sanctioned division in the state? Here to tell us all about the Milwaukee Barbarians Rugby Club are two of the players, Anthony Sims and Alex Moras. Great to see you both.
Hey, good morning.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know Milwaukee had a rugby team, especially one that's so competitive.
Yeah. We've been around since 2012 and playing Division I, which is the highest level you can play here. So yeah. We're
How
proud
often
of
do you
that.
guys play?
So in the fall season, we have matches every Saturday with a bye week here or there peppered in, and then we practice actually Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
How do you describe the game of rugby to people? Because I think a lot of people aren't that
Right.
familiar with it
Yeah.
unless they know somebody who's played.
So it's definitely foreign to a lot of people. It's 80 minutes of nonstop contact sport, 15 versus 15, pretty similar to the size of a soccer pitch. So yeah, it's nonstop.
Do you wear pads like football?
Well, after my mom would be proud
You
that
should,
after 10 years, I finally started wearing a mouth guard. So that's it, just mouth guard. Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
going to admit, I played one season of rugby in college.
Really?
Yeah, it was really hard. I have a bad back. I could not continue because I was a social member.
Sure.
But what I find funny about it is like the social part and the community aspect of rugby is a huge part of the game. And I feel like that's what people don't know a lot about what you guys do. There's a game involved with the camaraderie, the social aspect, the culture after the game is such a big part of everything you do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think it's the best network I could have joined in my life. So the best way to the best example I have of this is we had a member flying from France, and before he found a place to live, before he had all his ducks in a row, he reached out to us, met us, and within 3 months of that, we were actually all visiting his hometown in the south of France. So we also had, it was. We also had a
network.
Yeah, we also had a member that was living here who had to move to Italy for work, and same sort of deal. Doesn't speak a lick of Italian, meets the local Italian rugby team, and instantly has a network and connections of people in the Milan area.
I'm fascinated to know what sports you played in school that led you to rugby, because most kids play soccer or football or baseball or something. They don't, at 5, they're playing t-ball,
Sure.
not rugby. So how
Yeah.
did you get into the sport?
I think we're a prime example of being very different, coming from different backgrounds. I was a longtime skateboarder. That's all I cared about was going out and skateboarding. I didn't play football. I didn't play anything like that, but I wanted a contact sport, and I wanted some kind of like brotherhood, kind of like fraternal aspect, and I was looking for that. He comes from a long history of different sports.
Yeah. So my background is I played football, wrestled, ran some track here and there, and honestly, I found rugby late in life. I was outside of college by the time I started playing.
Really, that late?
Yeah.
You missed out in college.
I missed out on yeah.
I didn't miss out. I had a great time.
You had a great time in college.
Yeah.
But I will say that Milwaukee, I grew up in the Twin Cities, and Milwaukee has a really, really rich history of rugby in the area, and actually one of the more premier high school kind of networks set up for people to play rugby. And through our organization, we actually support youth tag rugby and rugby at all levels going up through, and that's men and women.
Yeah.
That's
How many
great.
teams do you guys have within the Barbarians? Is it just the one team?
So we have 2 teams. We have 2 pools. We have Division I, which is that top kind of premier level. We also have Division III, which is great for people that are wanting to get involved in the sport. It's very developmental, but at the same time still competitive. If you've got social life and all that, and you can't make it to every game, can't make it to every practice, we've got a place for you.
Do people audition or try out? Or how
You're
do they...
welcome.
Audition.
Show up, like-
It's an open arms mentality. I mean, we take anybody that's interested, from top level athletes that have been playing their whole life to guys that have no idea and have never put on cleats before. We've got a place for everyone. So yeah.
That's really neat. So you play once a week during your season. Your
Correct.
season goes from what to what, approximately?
So we don't like to play when the ground is super frozen and cold.
Yeah.
Being from Florida,
That would hurt.
I'm not a huge fan of that. So we start August 24th is our first game. We play into midway through November. So,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And there was a big lakefront tournament, or is that still coming out? Was that the one in June?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's our pride and
A lot of
joy.
people saw that kind of coming up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's one of the largest tournaments in the state. I'll let him.
Yeah, so every year there's really 2 types of rugby. You have 15 on 15, which is kind of that the big scrum, that everyone knows kind of that version. And then you have what you might see on NBC where they play 7 on 7, and that's kind of like a 3 on 3 basketball tournament.
Okay.
It's 7-minute halves, a lot of open running, and you might play 5 games within a day. So every June we run one of the largest sevens tournaments in the country where we'll get hundreds of teams from all the way from youth up to men's competitive elite level. And we host that down. It's actually one of our biggest fundraiser type deals for the club. But it is a phenomenal event, and we really do hope a bunch of people come out to it next year.
Yeah.
We get a great response.
Can people watch your regular games?
Oh, absolutely.
Or your practices?
Yeah, we're out. They can come out to practices. We'd like to get them out on the field if they're at the practices. But our games are at Brown Deer Park, and every Saturday, typically around 1 o'clock. Big family community. People bring out the kids, bring out their pets and whatnot, and have a lot of fun. So
Cool. You got to explain the terms. What is scrum? You just said that.
I'll
word
leave
a
that to
second
him.
ago.
Yeah, so,
You got like 30 seconds to do it.
all right, the best way to describe a scrum. All right, here we go. Let's go. It's kind of like when somebody commits a penalty or a foul. It's like a face-off in hockey. It's a restart.
Right.
The members of the forward pack, which is like the first 8 on each team, come together. Somebody feeds the ball through the middle, and then they basically try to get the ball back to their side and restart play.
And the ball can only be passed?
Backwards.
correct.
No way. Oh, I didn't know that.
You can kick it, but
And it's not overhand either, it's underhand.
Oh, and what about the word ruck?
I'll do that, even though I'm not very good at it. Rucking is just like trying to keep the other team from getting the ball. So we kind of set like a defensive wall from them being able to come over and pick it up. So.
That is awesome.
And do you have to have a mustache to play?
You've got one, bud. Yeah.
It makes you faster.
It helps.
It makes you faster.
Faster.
Science.
Fantastic.
So if you have a mustache, show up or learn more at MilwaukeeRugby.org. Thanks, you guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers,
Thank
thanks.
you so much.
Appreciate it.